All right, so we've been hearing a lot about Sharia law, about how Muslims are going to take over whole areas. You're going to have no-go zones. Here's Mamdani very suspiciously dressed in his native dress. How dare he? How dare he dress that way? Representative Andy Ogles. This man came to America for one reason, to turn America into an Islamic theocracy. I say no to Sharia law, which is why I've presented an argument to have Mamdani sent back to Uganda based on information he clearly withheld. I'm fighting to take our country back. DOJ must investigate. Yeah, that's not at all unhinged. James Woods shares a picture replicating the murder of the Ukrainian girl on a bus with Mamdani holding the knife to the Statue of Liberty. The reptile smile, James Woods says. And BM quote tweeted over this. Imagine a famous actor posting a similar meme about anyone Jewish. It would be the end of their career. Got that right. Not that James Woods getting a lot of work these days.
Right.
Eric Doherty. In literally no American city should candidates be speaking Arab in campaign ads to gain the Arab vote. They are conquering and won't stop unless they are stopped. Okay. All right. I don't even understand that. What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? So is that just Arabic or is that all languages? Like you shouldn't speak in anyone's native language? Because you know what? You know what he didn't comment on? He didn't comment on the fact that Mamdani also took out print ads in Yiddish.
Oh, wow.
Print ads in Yiddish. Should he not have done that? Is Eric Doherty going to quote tweet that? Nope. Nobody should be purchasing print ads in Yiddish, a language that almost nobody speaks.
Yeah.
Right? You can make that argument. A lot more people speak in Arabic. Yiddish is really, that's the Hasidics almost.
Yeah.
Specifically. Like those are the only people who still speak Yiddish, really. Well, it might be that. Might be getting that $7,000 up his poop chute as portrayed, as there's an artist rendering of what that might look like. If Eric Doherty were getting $7,000 up his ass every time he tweets something like that. And we do know that he works cheap. He works cheap because you know what? He was one of the people who got busted in Sodagate when Nick Sorter exposed that all of these influencers, sight unseen, and this is very funny this week. I forgot this detail of this. What they were getting paid for by some company, some shadowy company, just offered the money. They agreed to take it sight unseen. Not even a lot of money. It topped out at $1,000. And they all tweeted out basically the same thing, changed it a little bit, but basically the text they gave him. It was to argue that Trump should not cut off SNAP recipients from buying soda. That was he took money to argue that. And I'm sure this week he's all over no one should get SNAP.
Right.
It all depends on who's paying them. He got paid to say, let SNAP recipients have soda. And yeah, man, no questions asked. He just took the fucking money, sight unseen. Took the money. So here's, and I'm sure the Israelis pay a lot better than some random soda company. So here he is again, breaking. This New York City patriot just pleaded with President Trump to revoke the citizenship of Zohran Mamdani and his father. All right, let's take a little look at this video.
America, I asked President Donald J. Trump to ban Sharia law in America, in Puerto Rico, and across all U.S. territories.
You don't like our laws? Get the fuck out of America!
Assimilate or leave. This is not hate. What we say is with truth and love. We will not be silent You will not use the Constitution against us. You will not use your religion against us. Practice your religion, but it's not going to supersede America, the Constitution, and the people that we are. We love the melting pot. This is America, and it's going to stay that way. If you can't assimilate, you got to go. That's it. You got to go. Thank you.
All right, so keep that in mind. If you can't assimilate, you got to go. Now, here's another guy from NASA explaining what you should expect if Mamdani becomes the mayor.
Understand what it's like to elect a Muslim socialist until they elect a Muslim socialist. You could ask our friends in London, how many years has Sadiq Khan been mayor there? How's that going?
What do you think will happen in New York City if Zohran does win?
You know, there'll be a few immediate things. One, if you're Jewish or Christian, you're going to feel extremely unsafe. You're going to be looking at a lot of these sort of Muslim street and Antifa-style element behaving like complete animals because they no longer have any limitations. The police are on their side, right? Second of all, you're going to see tremendous crime. Those same liberal white girls that are probably going to be why Mamdani wins, if he does, are going to be the first on the chopping block. And it's going to be awfully satisfying, grimly so, when they're the ones getting sexually harassed in the subway, because guess what? They're the first in line. Because there's no one protecting them, and they're gonna wonder about their vote at that point. But of course, by then,
why do you say awfully satisfying?
Huh?
Why do you say awfully satisfying?
Because it's there is something deeply satisfying about someone facing the unintended consequences of their actions. I don't find it satisfying because I like it; it's horrendous.
No,
but the fact that they actively voted for this while claiming people like myself and yourself are racist, are fascist, are Nazis. Let's see if they think that way still when they're getting sexually assaulted by some guy who should either be in prison or mental asylum.
Okay. All right. So that's what's going to happen if Mamdani gets elected. So Mehdi Hassan quote tweeted this, radical jihadist. So it's 1 a.m. and Zohran just showed up at the gay bar. Ain't no jihadis with this into glow sticks.
No, this is his outreach to the MAGA community.
Yeah, that's that is some jihad there. That's some jihad. There, it's a jihad on Long Island iced teas, I think. Paul A. Zippola. This was a very interesting tweet in response to this. Zohran Mamdani shows up at a gay bar in NYC around 1 a.m. on Sunday. How does that work with his religious beliefs? Dude, you're so close to figuring something out. You are so close. You're almost there.
I think they own themselves.
There. Your IQ is about to go from 90 to 91.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Keep going. I have faith in you. I bet you can follow that to its logical conclusion. All right. So, it's interesting. You have the guy talking about how you should assimilate, how people need to assimilate to the culture. They're talking about people taking over and living according to their own rules and their own customs. We have that. It's called Williamsburg. That's what this is a picture of. This is Williamsburg in Brooklyn. There is a section of it's not all of Williamsburg. There's a hipster section of Williamsburg. Then there's a Hasidic section of Williamsburg where literally every house, every business, every school is Hasidic. Every single fucking one. I'm not exaggerating. I used to do tours of the area.
I lived in North Williamsburg. I was not far from there.
Yeah. Everything is owned by the Hasidic Jews. Now, there are two different sects, and this is relevant because of this. All right, so the ones in Williamsburg are the Satmar Hasids. Now, when you see the ones coming out to the pro-Palestine protests, those are going to be the Satmars because they believe, as the rabbis did until modern Zionism, they said that the Jews could not go over the wall, meaning the Messiah has not come. You are not allowed to reestablish a state in that land. they cleave to that interpretation. To them, Israel should not be there because the Messiah has not come. Now, these more proselytizing Hasids that you see, I mean, you probably don't see unless you live in New York. They go out. These are the ones who will run up on Michael Rappaport with the tefillin, with the leather that he's been wearing now, and try to get random Jews on the street to put the Cenobite costumes on. So that's out in Crown Heights, which is not as dominated as Williamsburg because there's also a Caribbean community there, and there's always been a little bit of conflict between those two things. But what's behind them in this picture is 770. That's the main synagogue of the Chabad Lubavitch Hasids. That's where the tunnels were, for anyone who's wondering. That's where that whole tunnel thing came out of, because you got like the seminary, basically, to the left of it, that red brick building you see. And they believe that the founding Rebbe was like the Messiah, Schneerson. Their Rebbe, he's dead now. They believe he was the Messiah. So this is basically a religious cult that controls a neighborhood, right? I mean, they have their own libraries there. They have their own schools. And they also, as we'll get into on Tuesday, they have these Chabad houses that are basically gated communities for Israelis around the world. They have 6 of them in Thailand. They have 6 of these Chabad houses where they don't let the Thai authorities go inside, and they have Israelis inside. So I don't know, man. There's all this talk about people who are not assimilated taking over communities. I have never heard them talk about this. Like, I don't know any Muslim neighborhoods where they have this kind of control or expect this kind of control over the whole community. I've never heard of it. Not in New York. I've never heard of a Muslim community like that. We've got Jewish communities like that. You got them upstate too. 5 towns is all Hasids, all Hasids who took over 5 towns. Now, you want to talk about abusing women. This is what the Hasidic did in Brooklyn, probably the Chabad, probably not the Satmars, did to a pro-Palestine protester woman who needed a police escort, calling her a whore, death to Arabs, all of this. They kick her, push her, throw things at her, and hurl insults, all while chanting death to the Arabs.
Everything's going on.
Hang on, I thought it was the Muslims who were going to harass the women. I thought the Muslims are going to harass the women. I thought the Muslims are this dangerous religious sect that abuses women. It looks like actually we have whole sections of New York City that have been taken over by a religious sect that abuses women. So strange. They don't talk about that. They're not protesting about that at the 9/11 memorial site. So here's an NBC special on that community here in New York.
To understand what it means to be Hasidic, consider many in this neighborhood have never seen a movie or watched TV. Yiddish, not English, is the main language. In accordance to biblical teachings, men dress alike, wearing long curls, while married women cover their hair, usually with wigs. Family is paramount, and others might appreciate the community's values.
The modesty in the dress, the language in the house, standing up for parents, not interrupting when adults are speaking. That kind of protected lifestyle, that is what we have today.
Remarkably, New York City's Hasidic community is located right across the river from Manhattan's skyscrapers, in one of the hippest areas in the country, Brooklyn. Here in Williamsburg, there are trendy shops, galleries, and a lot of bars. Yet just a few blocks away, more than 300,000 Hasidic followers have found a way to remain completely isolated, creating a religious island. Yet what happens when someone just wants to know what's on the other side? These 4 young people made the difficult choice to walk away from the community where they were born and raised. There's no wall around you. There's subways. What keeps people from sort of crossing that line? Gentiles will kill you. Gentiles will kill you.
What they do is they don't make you think this is good, but it's forbidden. It's why would you even want that?
What were you taught about the Holocaust?
Ultimately, the lesson of the Holocaust is stay as insulated and as isolated as possible. So that's really the lesson that you...
Okay, so they're telling you that the Muslims are raised with a hatred for Western civilization. They are literally raising their children to believe they have to avoid all of the Gentiles because they're going to kill them. That's not an extremist religious sect, because it seems like this community is everything that you're claiming we have to be afraid of for Muslims, but you're not mentioning it. Why are you not bothered by this?
Grow up with.
They say to people like us, you want to go mingle with them, look what could happen.
Ari Mendel, Melissa Weiss, Sam Katz, and Hindi Sable all had something in common since they were children: curiosity. When words were blacked out in their school textbooks, they wanted to know what they meant. Do you remember words that you were not supposed to know?
Many words. Some are pretty mundane, like dinosaur and universe and gymnasium.
And what is it about those words that makes them forbidden?
They bring up subjects they don't want to talk about. So
subjects like evolution and astronomy are not taught in their private Hasidic schools. You mentioned gymnasium, which I don't get that.
They don't teach them astronomy. They don't teach them astronomy. Now, I'm not an expert in Islam, but I've known a fair amount of Muslims. I've never known Muslims who are not allowed to learn about astronomy. I've never heard of that.
Why would we need to use the word gymnasium?
To exercise.
We don't have that concept
to
really.
Play.
Like
exercise helps the body.
It's a waste of valuable, precious time.
It's great. It's secular. Like most Hasidic boys, Sam Katz's secular education stopped at the age of 13. He then studied the Talmud 6 days a week, up to 13 hours a day. But Sam had a burning desire for something more. One day, he sneaked away to a forbidden place in Manhattan. What did you think?
It was obviously a lot to process.
He went to the Museum of Natural History. It changed his life.
The first time I saw the dinosaurs, I barely knew what to make of it. And I was like, I wonder how can this be assembled? There was something so connected about standing next to a dinosaur. Something so universally harmonious, for lack of a better word. It was just the feeling of this fantasy world.
How do you explain?
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. That kid, good for him. He's a Fulbright scholar now. But imagine that. Being raised that insulated, going to the museum, and they didn't even teach you the word dinosaur.
Right.
Looking at these things and trying to figure out what that is. That's not an extremist cult that's taken over a community. It's not. I'm telling you, man. Williamsburg, they own literally everything in about a 20-block radius, about a 1 mile by 1 mile radius. And they're breaking the law, man. They're breaking the law. They don't give them a proper education. They just said at 13, that education ends, and that education, they're not educating you. A lot of them come out barely able to speak English because they're taught English as a second language. That is how insulated they are in this community. So the ones who want to leave, as with many cults, it's very difficult for them to assimilate into society, to the point that there are actually organizations set up to help them, like cults, to get out of the cult. This is probably the only time we'll ever use this source. Oprah Daily.
Oprah Daily.
Oprah Daily. Imagine you'd never heard the song Imagine, or driven a car, or celebrated Thanksgiving, or learned that dinosaurs once existed. If you were Haredi, raised in ultra-Orthodox Judaism, this could be your experience. You grew up in an intensely insular, highly restrictive community where interacting with the outside world is rare. Despite being raised in America, you may have learned Yiddish as a first language. You were taught that God created the earth about 6,000 years ago. In your school books, anything involving evolution, sex, or reproduction was likely redacted with a black marker if the pages hadn't been ripped out entirely. You may have been married to a virtual stranger at age 18 and expected to bear and rear as many as 12 children. And if it ever occurred to you to try to leave this confining world, you probably shoved that thought away. All right, so they're telling us all the time about how badly women have it in the Muslim world and how they're going to not assimilate and create their own no-go zones. You got that right in Brooklyn, man. You got that right in Brooklyn. But it's Hasids, so they don't talk about it. If it's Muslims, and again, I'm a native New Yorker. I've been around a lot of Muslims. I've never seen a Muslim community with that kind of extreme behavior, with that kind of extreme insularity, where its children were that cut off from the broader society. So maybe Eric Doherty should get on that and ask why there's a community where they're allowed to raise their children without an education so that they really don't have any prospects for their futures if they want to get out of that cult.
Look, I mean, the double standards are just hidden in plain sight. It's nothing that most New Yorkers have not experienced. Frankly, you've talked a lot about how racism is not a Southern thing; it's a human thing, and it's present everywhere. And New York City is no exception. Look, for all of Mamdani's shortcomings, I personally cannot wait to see him win on Tuesday night, just to see what all these fucking people have to say about it. I mean, that is going to be a top 5 epic Twitter meltdown. No doubt.
Yes.
Like top,
Yes.
no matter what your politics are, like no matter what it is, like if it happened, like I say, I'm not putting it at 100% odds because you never know, but he's overwhelmingly likely to, and it will be really satisfying watching the just collective meltdown when this happens, because there was a time not very long ago, by not very long ago, I mean like a year ago, where it's inconceivable that something like this could happen in New York City. And it looks like it's about to happen. And of course, they just went as low as they could possibly go with this just blatant racist bullshit as a last ditch effort to try and consolidate support behind Andrew Cuomo, which of course, it would be unthinkable that any Republican would consider voting for Andrew. Like a year ago, how could anybody have predicted that this race would have gone this way? Nobody could have ever seen any of this coming.
For election night, I tried to find if anyone had made it. No one has yet. We should, because we'll make a fortune. I am taking a mark and writing Zionist tears on the side of my coffee cup.
Yeah.
And I am going to savor every moment of that night. Hopefully we don't wind up like the people who thought Hillary was going to win.
Hopefully. He should bring his wife out in a full hijab when he comes to make his acceptance speech. Should ban alcohol. Should ban alcohol
Sharia
as his first
goes into effect today.
All the bars closed as of right now. Yeah, exactly. He should do something to troll them.
Actually, it would be so funny if he did a riff like that and that said, just kidding.
Just kidding. Just kidding. That's why we aren't advisors on his campaign.
Yes, exactly. That's why nobody will hire us. Even Jose won't hire us.
Yeah, exactly. That would be something, though.
Please clap.